Hi, I'm Jane Briscoe from New Orleans, Louisiana. On behalf of the Smocking Arts Guild of America, I'm going to demonstrate the satin stitch. Satin stitch can be done on virtually any fabric with any thread. Today, I've chosen to use linen fabric and floche thread. The linen fabric provides a firm support for the dense stitches, and the floche is a soft thread which blends beautifully. I'm using a small oval embroidery hoop, and my needle is in number 8 sharp. As with any type of embroidery, good light and magnification are essential. You cannot stitch what you cannot see. Preparation is very important. The first step is to trace or draw your design accurately on your fabric. Use the fine point marker of your choice, but take your time to draw or trace carefully. For today's demonstration, I'm going to outline with a running stitch, pad with one layer of straight stitches, and then complete my satin stitching. Satin stitching can be done without outlining or padding. However, in my opinion, it's easier to achieve pretty results if you take the time to outline and pad. Now it's time to pick up your needle. My preference is to tie on behind existing stitches on the back, in this case the stem. You could also tie on within the leaf shape, since the leaf will be completely covered, or you could use a waist knot. I'm going to outline with a running stitch on this small leaf. If the shape were larger or the padding denser, I might choose to use a split stitch or a back stitch. Simply stitch around the shape using a running stitch. Because I'm using a hoop, I will use the stick and stab method. The next step is to add the padding. Perhaps the one firm rule of satin stitching is that each layer must be perpendicular to the previous layer. Because I want my final layer of stitches to run across, the first layer of padding will have to run from the stem to the tip of the leaf. For a shape of this size, 3 to 5 padding stitches will be plenty. One long one down the middle and 1 or 2 on either side. Do you see what I meant about preparation? Only now are you actually ready to begin satin stitching. Begin in the middle of the leaf at the widest part. Be sure that each stitch comes up just outside the outline and goes down just outside the outline. The first stitch is the most important, as it will establish the angle for all subsequent stitches. Continue stitching toward the tip of the leaf, ensuring that each stitch lies right beside the previous stitch. You don't want your stitches to overlap, and you don't want your stitches to have gaps between them. The hoop will help ensure that your tension is correct. You don't want loose stitches, and you don't want to pull so tightly that you distort the fabric. When you reach the tip of your leaf, simply take your needle to the back, run it under your existing stitches, and continue stitching the second half of the leaf in the same manner. When you have finished, you can tie on under the existing stitches on the back or travel to another leaf nearby. Satin stitch is very common for monograms and white work. Antique linens were often densely covered with satin stitch. Just think how proficient you would be if you stitched all these leaves and flowers. And because there are so many stitches, each individual shape will not be noticeable if that shape is not perfect. I hope you will consider adding satin stitch to your repertoire of embroidery stitches. Don't let it intimidate you. Satin stitch is a great way to fill small shapes and add texture and interest to your embroidery projects. Thank you so much for watching today.